The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Let's yap about it. Let's yap about it. Yap about it podcast. Starring Raw Bass. Let's yap about it. Yeah. Let's yap about it. Let go. We in the mix. Fit too savage. Let's yap about it. Interviews be exquisite. Stop by for a visit. Content was so living. Had to pray for all of my children. Now the whole world be listening. Talk to niggas from prison. Spoke how they was living. How the COs be tripping. Rappers losing on the back end because promoter dudes keep dipping. Seen the show when the dude started out of bloods, then start crippin'. Stripper niggas stop tipping. Out of game niggas stop flipping. Bad attitude, so he had to move just to keep his ass out of prison. Seen a show about a young hoe fucked on a sister, man, no apology. Let's yap about it. If the bitch come around me, she can holler at me. Check my Instagram, she was following me, cause she knew I be where them dollars be. Rapid funds, but I keep it going. I fuck you up, no apologies. Live with Raw Bass. Let's yap. Another one. Finish him. Bit too savage. Savage like music.
What's the deal? Y'all glad to be back. Got a lot to run on my plate tonight. You know, I don't want to be too long. I don't want to be too long-winded like the pastor say. But tonight's episode is the last episode of the year on Keeping It 100 Wednesday. Yes, sir. Let me know that you can hear me clear and precise. Give me a thumbs up in the chat, or you know what I'm saying, just give me the thumbs up or say yes or whatever. But I just want to make sure that y'all can hear me clearly. Tonight's going to be a wonderful program. You could be anywhere, but you're joining me tonight, man, and I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart. Tonight's episode, G.A.B.O.S. Game ain't based on sympathy. Inspired by what I used to listen to and still listen to this day. Inspired by Rick Ross. The song was off of Mafia Music Part 3. A great album. That was a masterpiece. He always given so much game, and I just wanted to give my game and my perspective, especially when it comes to the endeavors of the streets. I've dipped and dabbled. I've done some things, you know what I'm saying, that I'm not proud of nonetheless, but I feel like I had to give a perspective and close out the year in the right way. You know, I've taken so much from the street perspective, but it's time to give back. So without further ado, welcome to the Let's Yap About It podcast. We're the only media and the only tangible podcast where you will hear it raw and uncut, live and direct, and full effect first for the people. I'm Robert Higgins, your host for tonight's program. You are now listening to the best podcast and best Black media outlet in America. I would like to thank each and every watcher, listener, pretender, ender, and beginner, because without you, the people, this would not be possible. This lesson, like I say, is something that I actually wrote up, thought about, created, and, you know, just from my experiences, especially in the streets, of knowing how to maneuver, when to maneuver, and understanding is a very serious thing. I want to know, and like I say, if you can in the chat, let me know that you can. Okay, good. We can hear. Everybody can hear. Everybody's clear. All good. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. But like I say, I definitely wanted to chime in on this. Something heartfelt to me. I feel like I have to give a certain perspective of how I've, basically, inched away with my life in a lot of things, inched away in my life in a lot of situations that I chose myself. And I can stand as a man and say that I can stand on the 10 toes down and be respected for what I say and what I know and what I do as a man and as an individual, right? So tonight's episode, game ain't based on sympathy. That's just truly exactly what it is. The game, no matter what game you in, it ain't based on sympathy. I don't care if you're in the working game. I don't care if you're in the street game. I don't care if you're in the pimp game. I don't care if you're in the player game. The game ain't based on sympathy. And you got to realize that the moves that you make not only affect you, but also affect others around you too. And if you also want to tap in, you want to chime in, and you want to give your perspective, you already know what the number is, for tonight's broadcast. You can dial in at any given moment. That number, 515-605-9776. That's 515-605-9776. Or you can email me behind the scenes. If you want to be a guest, I can send you an invite. And like I say, you know what I'm saying? This is your show. You can give your perspective. And shout out to everybody, like I say, once again, to me tonight. So without further ado, let's get to it. Let's get to it. The G.A.B.O.S. The game ain't based on sympathy. Something that's heartfelt, something that that I had an emotion to. We can all see, what's going on with YSL. Think it's a game, and all the necessary people that is tied to that situation. You got to be careful in how you're moving. You got to be careful. But I want to do this breakdown tonight. And like I say, bear with me. You can chime in. Like I say, you already know the number, and you can give your perspective. So without further ado, let's get to it. So I want to say this with all due respect. Coming into this is a very, very heartfelt thing for me. And I just want y'all to grow along with me as I grew along in my lifetime. Now, coming to this thing, and I'm gonna move myself over just a little bit so you can see me. Just a little bit. Hold on. I want you to be able to see me. Hold on. Let me do this. There we go. Now, I want you to see this. It says choose your path. It says choose your path wisely. Choosing your path comes with wisdom. Now, we all don't make the right choices at first, especially going into our younger years. Within the developmental stages of our lives, we start off, you know what I'm saying, making choices. We're supposed to be taught in the right manner to make good choices and to differentiate good choices from bad choices, nonetheless, right? Now, one thing that I want to hit home with is the definition of fate before you make your choice. I don't care whatever you choose, whatever path that you choose, you have to make sure that you also have a level of discernment, a level of scruples, a level of morals, values, and principles, integrity, intensity, and intelligence in these type of choices. Let me tell you something. Understanding the definition of fate before you make your choice is a great thing. It's a serious thing. And it could be a matter of life and death situation. all of my experiences, what I've had, man, I've had some close encounters to death. And by the grace of God and by me, I would probably having a praying mother, a hard praying mother, a hard praying grandfather before he passed away, a hard praying uncle, a hard praying auntie, aunties, I rather say, across the board, are probably what got me to where I'm at today. And maybe God's seen in his grace that he wasn't done with me. And I'm still here and I'm still rocking and rolling. So shout out to my family that stayed down with me for a long time and built with me and grew with me, man. And I'm continuing to still grow as an adult. I want you to understand the definition of fate before you make your choice, because you got to understand something about fate. Everybody's fate is not the same. Your grace and my grace ain't the same. Your calculation of whatever that you got going on isn't going to be my calculation. So whatever you choose to do, like I said in the beginning, whether you choose to be in the streets, whether you choose to be in the pimp game, whether you choose to be a Mac, a player, whatever you choose, there is a life and death situation in it. There are too many people that you can see on the news on a constant basis, losing their lives behind relationships, losing their lives, but also behind jobs, losing their lives behind miscommunications, simple misunderstandings, alcohol involved, drugs involved, anything. Understanding that whatever choice that you make, whatever path that you walk in, it could be detrimental to your situation. I want y'all to understand that. Fate is something that you must understand, because you don't understand the moment that you lace your boots up in the morning, the moment that you tie your shoes up in the morning, the moment that you put your clothes on, brush your teeth, wash your face, and you get ready to go on your daily comings and goings. You don't understand the grace that you're up under. And you could either make it home or you might not make it home. So understand that the fate of yours is in your hands, and it's by choice. Second, I want to get to this. Be able to stand on the choices you make and make damn sure you're able to stand on them. And when I say being able to accept whatever that comes with that choice, be able to stand on it. Just a true story that I can give from my experience in life. I don't know if I've told this story. I probably told this story maybe once or before, but it's just a refresher to have on your mind, right? I remember, I, like I said, all the choices that we make. I call myself being a Mac back in the day. I call myself, you know what I'm saying, having girls and this and that, having a cell phone, and call myself having a starting five, starting 10, wherever you want to begin at. You know what I'm saying? I call myself a Mac, right? My mom took notice. My mom pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, son, can I talk to you for a minute?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." She said, "Son, I want you to know something. I know you think that, you know what I'm saying, you cute and all of that, and this in a bag of chips. And I did feel like that. Shout out to me, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But she said, you think you cute and all of that, but I want you to understand something about relationships and people as you're getting older. Now, getting involved with women, getting involved in the comings and goings and things like that, you have to understand something. Dealing with women, you have to understand this. Just because you deal with somebody or whatever, they could be dealing with somebody else, for one, and then for two as well. When these girls break up with their relationships or break up with their guys, just because she says she finished doesn't mean that he's finished. And you know what, I took that as a grain of salt. All right, mama, you know what I'm saying, I hear you, whatever, until I got myself in a situation. I was 18 years old. One night I was over at chick house. And what ended up happening was, I didn't know what the whole situation was, but I came over to kick it and do what I do. I ended up staying the night. I didn't want to go necessarily, but I said I'll get up and go in the morning. So what ended up happening was, there was somebody that came. They came and knocked on the front door. She didn't say nothing about who it was or whatever. So what ended up happening was the individual climbed up on to the second floor, came. I was like, "What's up? Like, who was that?" I thought it was her brother. Nonetheless, came in, opened the balcony, the slide door and what have you, the patio door, came in there, And I was like, what's going on? Whatever. What was the hap? Next thing you know, he goes in there, he starts punching her down, just like a dude, like punching her down, right? So I'm like, dang, what's up? Next thing you know, he punching her down. I'm like, just standing there. I was froze because I was like, I couldn't believe it was happening. Next thing you know, he pulls out a gun. And I think he had a high point gun. I think that was because I don't think he had a 9, right? So what he did was he told her to get down on her knees. So she got down on her knees. I didn't even know, like, I'm like, what's the deal? So what he did was he asked her a bunch of questions about who was I, this and that and the other. And what he did was, like I say, man, he beat her up like a dude. He told her to get down on her knees. And what I did was, in that situation, I stood on right hand. I said, man, listen. And I talked to God in that brief moment. I said, God, whatever my fate is going to be my fate. It is what it is. But I know my mom talked to me. My mom told me about this same situation, and now I'm faced with the same situation. But whatever my fate is, I accept it. But if you can forgive me within my heart, I'm being honest and being real, I'll accept whatever. But if you can forgive me and allow me to live in this situation, I'll never go against my mother again. And let me tell you something. When she got down on her knees, he cocked that pistol back and it went click. Twice. Let me tell you something. At that point, I don't know. I just said, hey, man, this is not worth it. I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't know what's going on. And come to find out, the guy was paying bills in her mama house. Dude was doing a whole bunch in that house, man, and taking care of them bills and responsibilities. Now, whatever in her mind, she felt like it was nothing. It was something to him. So that was a lesson learned in that process. And let me tell you something at the end of the day, man, that could have been my life, but God spared me at that particular moment. True story. So I thank God, and I thank God for that blessing. So you know what I'm saying? Like I say, I'm here by the grace of God, but also understanding that situation, that second one right there, be able to stand on your choices you make and make damn sure you're able to stand on them. And I stood on them, man. So it was what it was. Let that be a lesson to y'all, man. Even if you thinking you being a player, man, or you thinking you being a pimp or whatever that you thought you was getting away with or whatever, man, there's a fate behind it, man. There's a life and death choice that you can make behind any and everything that you do. But specifically when you choosing something that's in a dangerous game, believe you me, there's a damn choice behind it, big brother. I'm telling you that now. And also, sisters, y'all ain't no exceptions to the rule either. Know what you're doing. Second, third, be at the right place at the right time with the right tools for whatever may occur. That's what I've learned in this game, man. Because the game, like I said, ain't based on sympathy. My mom taught me this. My mom told me this is true story. Whether I pull up to the dice game, you know what I'm saying, have the right tools at the right time, that anything may occur. If I'm at a dice game, I need to have a pistol. If I'm at a dice game, I don't know what can happen. Anybody can come up and rob. Anybody can do anything possible. But at the end of the day, I'm supposed to be ready. I'm supposed to be sharp. I'm supposed to be looking. I'm supposed to be anticipating danger. But it's too many people out here that think that making these choices that they're good and gravy. And life can happen so fast that circumstances beyond your control can actually put you in a real life or death situation. And I've seen it happen. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to the dudes that I used to rock with and be at the gambling shack with, man. Trust me, it's a lot of lives that's been lost behind that, man. And I used to hang with them, but I used to really get a lot of my information from the old heads. And the old heads gave me a lot of information in order for me to get to the point of where I'm at today. So shout out to the old heads too, man. Be at the right place at the right time with the right tools for whatever may occur. But I want to say this specifically, man, the best thing you can do, it's even, I don't care where you at, man. Even if you in school, don't be in this. And I know it's going to be choices that kids make that go to the streets. But even if you're not in the streets and you actually trying to do something with your life and be constructive and you're trying to build, man, look, go to your school. Make sure you got the pen. Make sure you got the pad. Make sure you got all the accessories needed for you to further yourself. Don't dedicate your life to one thing that you know is probably not a good fate in, but there's something positive and you don't put no effort in. Put some effort into some of the things that you do. Put some of the efforts into the positive, because it's easily to go out like a sucker. It's easy to make a bad choice. It's harder to make a good choice, especially when you know the odds are stacked against you. And then you already know that most likely those choices are made behind emotion and not logic. You got to use your brain, man. My mom used to tell me that all the time. Use your head for more than combing it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm here the way I am today, to be able to tell you these stories. Because I can tell you all these things and choices, man, you got to be able to make sure that you're able to stand on it. There's too many people right now locked up behind a cell that wishing they could have made a different choice. But at the end of the day, they got to stand on it. Choose your path wisely. Choose your path wisely, because at the end of the day, either you trying to go up or you trying to go down. And I don't think anybody that I love and who I care about, I don't never want to see them go down. And that's a true story. This thing right here, deep, very deep. I wanted to touch bases on this. Now, this is for some people that I know that have tapped in with me, and this is just my perspective on what I've learned in the game. And there's a lot more research that came along with this. This box right here, that box right there is represented since the 70s. This box has a reputation in the minority communities since the 70s and has been held as the dope boy trophy around the United States of America. That's a true statement, because I can remember in the 80s, I knew dudes who had shoe boxes of money. It was known as something that was held into a higher regard. A lot of times that shoebox came with a lot, but I'm going to get into that. I'm going to definitely get into that. This box was a stamp of approval by young bulls coming up in the streets who didn't have nothing. This was a true sign of arrival. Trust and believe, man. I've heard the stories. Let me tell you something. Being around the gambling shack, being around the old heads, man, I done heard the stories. I'm talking about had shoe boxes of money, man, when the money was plentiful out here back in the early 70s, 80s, and even the late 90s, man. A lot of people obtained a lot of money around those times. And trust me, with that type of money, you just couldn't go to the bank. You couldn't just go in and just go to any credit union or anything like that and be able to put that money in there. A lot of pain, a lot of shit came with that. But I want to get to that third part. There is a lot that comes with this box. Blood, sweat, death, misery, ruthlessness, and pain. Come on now. If you think I'm lying, we've all heard the story of Paid in Full. We know this already. And we've heard countless other stories. We've seen countless DVDs, I'm talking about all of that actually gave that one particular side. But let me tell you something. When you make these type of decisions, when you get in the streets, man, you have to be all in. And like I said, with all of those things that I talked about, man, blood may come with that. Ruthlessness may come with that. Pain may come with that. Agony gonna come with that. A lot of sleepless nights gonna come with that. You don't understand. Making that decision, it's almost like selling your soul. You become without substance over time, man, behind that shoebox money, man. Let me tell you something. It's lots of dudes that gave their life to the streets and they got nothing in return behind this box right here. And if it wasn't this box right here, it was in Ziploc bags. And if it wasn't in Ziploc bags, they kept a lot of the money in the cans, the coffee cans. And if it wasn't in the coffee cans, it was in the Crown Royal bags. And if it wasn't in the Crown Royal bags, trust me, it was stuffed in jars, man. I done seen this. I done seen this for myself. I've been a witness to it. And let me tell you something. Here's the thing that you don't understand about that shoebox money. Like I said at the end, you can't go in any bank with that money. A lot of times, I'm finna give you some free game. You want to know how a lot of times you hear cats talk about snitching and all about telling? We understand that we as black folks and minorities, man, we like to shine, right? We like the jewelry, we like the fast cars. You've seen Paid in Full. I ain't got to talk about that. We know about the Rolexes. We seen the gold BBSs and all of that type of stuff, right? Now, here's something that you don't know. When you got that type of money and you go get that type of jewelry, what you got to understand, there's a marker that comes with the territory of you spending certain money, certain areas. This is for you young bulls so you can understand about how when you obtaining that money, you spending that money, they can go right to the places that they know that you like to buy. Like say, for instance, you never understood that one of the biggest jewelers, even some of the biggest jewelers, are the biggest rats in the city. Let me help you to some game. That money that you spend, them thousands and thousands that you spend, when you go to that jeweler, they sitting there counting that cash out, right? They supposed to, by law, flag and see where that money is coming from and to see what reference that money is supposed to be coming from, right? What ends up happening with these jewelers don't mark your money. They don't do the proper protocol behind your money. They supposed to call, right? So what they end up doing is taking your money. So when anything happens, any type of criminal activity or whatever happens, or whatever, when it comes to, jugging and the robbery shit, right? What they do is they go to the jewelers. That's the first place they stop because I told you, we like to shine. So what ends up happening is they say, hey, I want to see your last couple of transactions. So what they do is, by law, they have to open up their books. So when they start looking at all of these people that have made these large transactions, they say, hey, man, who is such and such? Or who is this person? So they ask the jeweler, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Okay, he spent this much money. Did you call it in? Did you go through proper protocol? Oh, you didn't. Oh, okay. Well, I tell you what, we're going to have to go ahead and shut you down. But we won't shut you down if you give us the names of these type of individuals who are making these type of large purchases. So what you think that they doing? Them jewelers gonna give you up. They in business. So they on the front end taking your money and then snitching on you in the fucking back end. It just don't stop there. If you think the jewelers is the only place that happened, hey man, think about Louis Vuitton, think about Gucci, think about all the designer stores that you go in and you go in and spend that type of money. All the police doing is looking at your Instagram and following your trail. And all they're gonna do is follow the trail and they're gonna look at what you bought. They're gonna count and they're gonna tally up your outfit. And if it's anything remotely to the thousands of dollars, guess where they're going? To the same places you shop. You see, the job of a big homie is to let you know certain things, the ins and the outs of the game. But like I told you, the game ain't based on sympathy. And a lot of times your big homies and your OGs want you to crash out just like they did. Real talk. They want you to crash out. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's my service. It's my duty as being a 38-year-old man to teach these youngsters, to teach them what the real is. You know how I know this? Because at the end of the day, when I worked at Spring High School, and I can identify where I work, they see me. They've seen me at the Galleria. Hey man, that's old man, that's mysterious man. He saw man, he was all man. He always gave us game, always gave us love, always. And they always showed me respect. You know why? Because I gave them respect and I gave them the truth. I never lied to them. I would not ever do anybody that listens to me on my program. I would never do your child a disservice because I done got girls out of situations. I done got men out of situations. And let me tell you about a situation that I got a girl that I knew. There was she had the lady that I knew, that was her daughter, and she was in a situation. I'm talking about a bad situation. We're talking about a prostitution situation. But out of respect, you know what I'm saying? Thank God you got somebody like an individual like me, made the phone call and made it understood what was going on. And guess what? at the end of the day, she corrected it and she got that shit right. Because at the end of the day, we all supposed to be watching our kids and we all supposed to be making sure that they make good goddamn choices, man. See, I can speak on it because I live this shit. It's a lot of stuff that I can't say, you know what I'm saying, because of certain situations, but nonetheless, I actually gave my truth and I actually lived my life according to how I would want other people to look out for my kid. You know what I'm saying? My daughter. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's gonna be coming up in the ranks in the game, and I would want somebody to be able to tap in with me when my daughter falling by the wayside. You know what I'm saying? It takes a village to raise these children, man. And if we ain't got no OGs really standing up and really giving these kids the game, then they gonna crash out. They're gonna crash out. So what's gonna happen to the next generation? They're gonna crash out even worse. And I'm trying to change the direction and trying to change the projection of where we're going as a society, especially when it comes to my culture, especially when it comes to my hood. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, man, shout out to my OGs, man, that really gave me some game and changed my life for the better. I want to get to this fourth thing too, man. Truth serum of what you don't know about the game. What you got to understand is this, man. Everyone involved in the street life, I don't give a fuck what it is. Even if you're a player, everyone involved is capable of telling on you. Everyone involved is capable of telling on you. Like I said, whatever choice that you make in your life, even when you choose friendship, you got people that will backdoor you and try to create dissension between a tight-knitted friendship that you may have with a person just so they can be friends with them. And it necessarily ain't even coming from a friendship. They just might want to be around to use them. They will X you out. Trust me, they will X you out. They do not want to see you in any type of situation on a positive. Like I told you, even when it comes to the drug game, man, let me tell you something. It's lots of cats that I know from beyond the shadow of a doubt, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that knew the laws was coming, knew that they was on their way. And it was dudes that had that type of envious and jealous spirit to let the laws catch certain individuals just so that they could have their way out in the streets. And then they would be removed so that they could get all the money, man. Oh, trust me, I done seen it. Trust me, I done seen it. It's real talk. I done seen this, man. I done seen it happen, man. I'm talking about from the street perspective. I done seen some dirty ass shit. I'm talking about even from the hustling standpoint, where these young boys out here getting their money. You know exactly what I'm talking about, man. As long as them folks got dirt on you, they'll leverage that same dirt to get themselves out of a jam because their motto is, "I'm gonna tell on you before you tell on me." These young dudes don't know about pressure. These young cats don't know nothing about pressure because they haven't understood what comes with that, man. Because, like I said, everyone involved is capable of telling on you. And I'm going to tell you something. It's all a lie from the people to the lifestyle and materialism in the game. It's all a facade. It's lots of men that I know that have been in the game for years and they don't have nothing to show for it. They gave their life to it. They gave their heart, their spirit, their soul to it, and they ain't get shit in return, man. See, ain't nobody gonna tell you this truth. That's why I say it's a real truth serum, because you don't really have nobody talking in the black media trying to give people the real and the reality of what this shit happens and how this shit happens. And I'm here to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's all a lie from the jump. Man, let me tell you something. I mean, everything. I done heard all the caps. I'm talking about all the caps, right? Now, here's the funny thing, right? If you pay so much for your jury and you pay so much for this and you had it like you had, why is it that when you get in a jam, you quick to pawn it? Man, I'm just being real and I'm just being honest, man. Let me tell you something. A lot of these cats that be in these streets, man, when they get the standing on them couches and they get the balling and they talking about they spending all this and spending all that, my first thing is, Why you ain't had no bail money? Why your mama and your grandma got to put up a house just to get you out of jail? Those are the questions that I asked. And the reason why is because, like I say, why would you need somebody else to help you or bail you out if you standing on your own word and your own choices? And I want you to understand something. All of this, I want you to understand this, man. I want you to do me a favor. I really want you to do me a favor. Real talk. Everything is a cap. Everything is a cap. Everything is a cap. I'm talking about from the money that they spent. They could have spent 2,000 on a ring. It's gonna be, man, I spent about 8,000, man. How about the necklace? Man, the necklace could be 5,000. They're gonna put a cap on top of that. Man, that necklace was about 12,000. Even when they go to the mall, man, the outfit could be $200-300, but then they're gonna turn around and tell you, "Oh man, I spent about 6 grand at the mall, man. It was really 6, it was really 9,000, but at the end of the day, they cut me a deal. But then I end up going to another store, and then I end up spending about another 6,000." Everything is a cap. Everything is a cap. And let me tell you something. The best advice that I ever took from my mother, man, was be yourself before you be by yourself. Shout out to my moms, man. Man, be yourself before you be by yourself. And one of the things that I've learned is we all want to feel like somebody. We all want to feel validated. We all want to feel like we've arrived. And trust me, I get it. Trust me, I get it. I've stood in a section and I've stood and had bottles. You know what I'm saying? I've done it already. But at the end of the day, where do I go from there? What's my next process after that? Trust me, it's an addiction and I get it. These cats want to feel like they've arrived. And guess what? We seen that same thing in the movie Paid in Full. When he was coming and the light hit him, it just had him shimmering. It just made him feel good, man. He just felt fluttery. I get it. But the thing is, you got to have substance inside of here. You don't need materialism or anything on the outside to validate what you got in here. Because what you got in here, can't nobody take it away from you, man. I'm just being real and I'm just being honest, man. You got to understand that, man. Don't let these lies, don't let this fictitious cap and everything else that come with this game, let that insert inside of you to where you can go fall off and your life be a crash dummy mission as well, man. Because it's a lot of young cats sitting behind bars, behind that materialism. And I'm here to tell you that shit is all fake. Not real. Not real. Not real. But I want to get to my third point, and this is real talk. You have a better chance at life by staying in school and graduating, unlocking your talents and skills to afford you a comfortable lifestyle than getting onto the streets. And I want you to understand that. You got a better chance at buckling down. And it may seem like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do and this and that and the other. Let me tell you something. Your education can take you a lot further than any of the street shit. I'm here to tell you, man, at the end of the day, what you got inside your mind, trust me, it's lots of cats that have actually made bad choices, made good choices when they came home, and just did it in a different manner. And they actually live in a comfortable, great lifestyle. And they're not afraid to share that with any of the youth. Trust me, it's lots of cats that done much time, done 10 years, 15 years, done quarters, came home with that same mentality that they had in the streets, and they doing good for themselves in business. Because trust me, if you can run a drug operation, you damn sure could be the CEO of a company. But let me tell you something. The game ain't based on sympathy. Like I told you in the streets, it could be just as worse in the streets as it can be in jail because you don't understand your fate. You could go to jail, have a stroke, not be able to be physical, be able to move, and you might be bound to a wheelchair the rest of your life. You do not understand what the choices that you make can affect you long term in the later years of your life. Or you go in that courtroom and they don't give you 5 years or 10 years. They give you 60 years. Or whatever that come with the street life may come with a death sentence where you had to put death on it. You got to understand that. The rules and regulations of these things. I want you to understand something. A lot of times, from a corporate perspective, let me give you the corporate perspective, right? There are a lot of people that actually look at their crimes, get ready to commit the crimes, but before they do, they already have a lawyer intact. So whenever they get caught, they get that lawyer to already have that worked out. So therefore, when they go to court, they already know what it was, and then they just pay back the restitution and they keep majority of the money. I'm serious. There are actually people that actually do that. I'm talking about white collar crimes. You know what I'm saying? That actually figure out how much time that they're gonna do. See, with this PPP loan shit, see that everybody didn't assess out exactly what they were gonna do. And see, a lot of people that are still freed now from the PPP loans, real talk, they've already organized exactly what they were gonna do, and whenever they come, they already got everything organized and everything situated. So guess what? As they may go into jail for 1 to 2 to 3 years, or maybe able to knock that sentence down, depending on how much money they have, they'll be able to still come out and run their business from afar. See, that's the difference in a lot of people. Knowing what you know before you do, as opposed to you just doing something on instincts and emotions and you getting the worst outcome of that this situation. That's something that you should think about, man. Get your education, get focused up, man. Going to college, ain't nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5. Ain't nothing wrong with going to college. Ain't nothing wrong with trying to figure out what trade skill that you want to do that you can actually turn into a lucrative business and to be able to run it like a Fortune 500 company and be able to franchise off and do certain things. I know many of businessmen. If you want to get into HVAC, I know some people in that field. I'm in the IT. I know some guys in the trucking. I mean, it's a array of things that you can do, but don't throw away your life before you can actually get the maximum benefit out of it. I'm just here to tell y'all, man, because I love y'all and I care about y'all and I respect y'all enough to tell you as an individual that's almost 40 years old. I got the O part. I'm just trying to get to the G. Now, going to this part right here. This is deep. Understanding the life you chose. There are ever some exceptions to the rule. Um, this individual right here from Chicago, I love him. And the reason why I took a love to him is because I read his story. At the tender age, I think I was maybe 10 years old. And this Time magazine was in my grandmother's house. And I used to sometimes, she had a lot of Time magazines. She had hundreds of magazines. So what I would do is just pick them up and read them. Because I always found the Time magazine having some interesting articles, even as a youngster, right? Now check this out. Robert Yummy Zandifer had one hell of a rough life from start to end. And for those that don't know, if you ever get a chance, when you heard Tupac, when he was talking, that same very picture was in his background. That's why it's so funny that I think about this, right? And I'm gonna say something about their lives and how they kind of compared uh, to each other, right? Robert Yummy Zandifer had one of a hell of a rough life from start to end. Man, his family life was fucked up. Um, Talking about him living in a home where nobody cared, everybody struggled. A lot of people were poor in his family. Um, had been abused, mentally abused, physically abused, all the way across the board, right? Now, I want you to understand something about him. The family he was born into was of chaos and dysfunction, like many of the young black boys and black girls that are born into today. This is why I say it's important that we can step back and as OGs, we can really pull our weight. When I say pull our weight, hold our youth down to let them know of certain things that are the reality of life, as opposed to what we think that we see on these TV shows and we try to mimic. Because like I told you, our culture across the board as a whole is addicted to bad information. We follow trends. We do a lot of things that are not productive enough or constructive enough to actually build our own culture back up to the prominence it had around the time, like even when I say Black Wall Street. You got to understand this. That chaos and disorder gets passed down. And when I say it gets passed down, this got passed down from the womb. This, like I told you, this is all science. A lot of the bad choices, bad decisions, all the things that came out of his family was when he got here from the primordial soup that actually made him, from the cosmic fabric that created him and his DNA strands. All of that came from his family surroundings into him as an individual and as a young man. So guess what? He was born into chaos. He actually became a chaotic person. But he had some good stuff in his heart. He had some good things in his spirit. But when I tell you that the DNA and everything that's been passed down of the majority of his family being in dysfunction got put into him, it was easily going to overtake his decision making. And I want you to understand something about Robert. If Robert had a community that really cared for him, he might still be here today. I wanted you to understand something. He wanted the approval of the gangster disciples. And he went out and he lived up to the reputation. He didn't have love like he was supposed to have in his family. So he found love elsewhere. He found love elsewhere. Like I told you, it's natural instinctive for an individual. Sometimes you could get used to the abuse, you can get used to the chaos, you can get used to the dysfunction. But one thing that they showed him was a type of love that he had probably never got in his home. This young man had been burned with cigarettes, all type of negative stuff, man. So when I tell you, if it was a little bit better over here, he didn't know that it was not even much better than the place that he left, at least where he could see the physical abuse being brought up on him, which he didn't like. But then sometimes you can get into another realm where you get mentally abused, you get manipulated, you get actually put into a situation to where you don't think that it's not beneficial to you, it's artificial, and you end up getting as I would say, getting caught up in the mix and getting caught up in the hype of things. He wanted the approval of the gangster disciples. He went to live up to the moniker. That little man became a terror because he felt like he was getting love, but he was still getting love in the wrong place. It wasn't the right place. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't getting love in the right place. And we can see exactly where Chicago is to now. But guess what? All of Chicago's not like that. All of Chicago's not like that. But there are a lot of individuals that have grew up in that, like I said, that chaotic and dysfunction environment where there is no structure, there is no discipline. But it touched my spirit and it touched my heart because what happened to him was that by him choosing that gang and living up to that moniker, he lived up to it too well. He ended up shooting and killing a young girl. He was seeking approval elsewhere that wasn't no better than his home, and he ended up killing somebody, trying to live up to his name. He met his demise by the same gang that initiated him in the first place. And the two individuals that actually carried out the mission, because the whole city, the whole police department, everyone was looking for him. And what they did was they lured him. The same gang that initiated him and the same gang that he loved and the same gang he looked up to. They lured him because it became too hot in the city, and they operations and stuff like that were hot. And what ended up happening was they lured him. They acted like they was going to shield him and protect him. But what ended up happening was they lured him, but two young individuals that acted like they was going to shield and protect him, and they shot him execution style in a low alleyway. So when we talk, and when I tell you the game ain't based on sympathy, he was a young individual, had a life full of promise, who grew up in a chaotic environment. Now, who's to say whatever wasn't going to happen anyway? But these are the type of situations when I tell you that the game ain't based on sympathy. Even in his family structure, they showed him no sympathy. Even when he went to the gangster disciples and he actually got a little love there, and then only in return for him to receive was death. There wasn't no love there either. That's why I say with the choices that you make, understand the environment that you're in, understand the climate that you're in can make you or break you in this society. He was shot execution style. A lot of people came to see him, and it was also a lesson learned for a lot of mothers at that time. To watch that young man in that casket at such a tender age is very hurtful. Before him in that situation, I think of a lot of other situations up current to this day. We as a community, are we helping or are we hurting this situation? Because there's a Robert Yummy in a lot of our neighborhoods now. But what are we doing to save them? It's something real that I actually wanted to say, that like I told you, the game ain't based on sympathy. And sometimes you don't understand that your fate is the make and breaking point of your legacy. And if you think I'm lying, we are the murder capital of the world, Houston, Texas, where generations are being slaughtered before they even start. Like I told you, the game ain't based on sympathy. They choosing the game in these situations, and they coming up short every time. So I challenge you. I challenge you to any kid that you see is trouble, any girl that you see is trouble, anybody that you see falling by the wayside, lift them up, pull them to the side, talk to them. Even if it's just one adult, get with 2 and 3 and 4. Talk to them, because these youth need this. We got a lot of them dying before their generation starts. And they're supposed to be here to help find cures, to help us across the street, to be able to feed us when we can't feed ourselves. And if we're gonna have any type of empathy from our youth, then we got to show some type of empathy to them. Shout out to the youth, man. I wanted to do this segment, right? Famous rats in the United States of America. The one that you heard me talk about, remember I told you, I say everybody's capable of telling on you. These men right here. These men that sat down, created the rules, made the rules, act like they abided by the rules. They never played by them. Like I told you, the game ain't based on sympathy. They sold their souls and then tried to buy it back. That one at the top that you see, recently killed. There was a difference between Albert Martinez and Alpo Martinez. Albert was loved by his family and friends. Alpo was loved by the streets. But you see what his demise was. Jail time, told on a whole bunch of people, came home, got killed. Alpo is what got him killed. You seen the story Paid in Full. He was in the witness protection program. He was in the witness protection program because he was this pretend about him living in plain sight. At the end of the day, man, I asked the question, was it worth it? Out of all the war stories, remember I told you it was all a lie. All the war stories, all of this, all the prominence that he rose to, all of that when he came home, taking pictures, acting like he was a full-blown celebrity, only for him to meet his fate in a Dodge Ram truck. And guess what? Within a matter of a week's time or two, he's forgotten and not even thought about. That same individual that you see right there at the bottom next to Alpo, Tim the Two-Man Taylor, he's a rat too. A guy that got in the game, got in the streets, told on people too. Yeah, Tim the Two-Man Taylor, the one that had his own show. But I want to show you something. Let me show you the difference in between faith. Nobody never ever knew that because they didn't put it on the forefront. Back in Detroit, yeah, he was a street guy, so-called street guy. But then when I told you, the climate changed, the heat came, he told on a bunch of people. Then went to Hollywood, got a show. Go figure. Just saying. At the end of the day, you never know. You never know. Once an informant, always an informant. Because they're going to always use you whenever need be to get things done, to get things handled. That one at the bottom, the one that created the council. Treat others as I would treat myself. The same guy that made those rules, same guy broke those rules and became a rat. Let me tell you something. All those individuals, they sold their souls and they tried to buy them back. These are the most ruthless and will say anything and do anything to save their own skin. This is why I tell you that the game ain't based on sympathy, because those same rules and principles that they supposed to stood on are the same ones that broke the rules to save their own fucking slimy skin. They pretended to stand firm with the decisions that they made, but in reality, there was a bunch of cowards. Remember, I told you in the beginning, whatever choice that you choose, whatever faith that comes with that, be able to stand on it. And if the street life ain't for you, don't even go towards that realm. Stay away from it. Stay in school. Go get you a trade. Whatever. There are too many people out here that are doing good with 9-to-5 working, paying jobs than people that are in the streets right now currently. I'm just giving you some real game. So ain't nobody gonna tell you that. I don't want you to crash out. I want you to cash in. Now, I asked this question. Now, here's the real question at the bottom. Upon their releases, how many men have they helped or women have they helped to go away from the lifestyle and to tell them the truth? Like I told you, that one up top, Albert Martinez, once the moment that he got out of jail and became Alpo again, he wasn't helping nobody, man. He wasn't telling these kids the truth. This guy actually pretended like he didn't rat and tell on nobody and came back into the world like it was all love and hugs. But then he ended up meeting his demise because, like I told you, Albert didn't get him killed. Alpo got him killed. And likewise in the others, and the list goes on. These are the ones that are just famous, but there are so many in your neighborhood, in your community, in your family that will sell you short, that will kill you, that will set you up. Because, like I told you, the game ain't based on sympathy. It's lots of dudes that were married, fucked up their relationships, may have seen something else going on in somebody else's relationship, and guess what they did? They destroyed it. Like I told you, the game ain't based on sympathy. You got to watch yourself. You got to watch how you move. You got to watch how you talk. You got to watch about your blessings. You got to keep everything dang near closed. You dang near got to keep it closed. I want y'all to understand that, man. That is very important to keep yourself well guarded, well respected across the board. And like I say, man, I love y'all and I care about y'all and I respect y'all enough to tell y'all the fucking truth. Listen here, man. If y'all want to drop a comment, please, by all means, drop a comment. Man, like I say, man, this was the last Keeping It 100 Wednesday, and I felt like I couldn't keep it no more 100 than this to talk about this shit, man. The game ain't based on sympathy. I know too many niggas that got shot and killed behind nonsense that may have not been big to them, but it was big to the other party. And you got to understand that living comfortably in a lifestyle to where you can work a 9 to 5 is way more comfortable than waiting to something that you did to somebody and somebody coming out the bushes and blowing your head off or blowing your top off just on the strength. I'm just being honest and I'm being real. Can we actually keep it 100? Real talk. I just want to keep it real and I just want to keep it a buck with y'all. If y'all want to come up, by all means, you already know. You already know if you up for questions, comments, or whatever across the board, you know I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? Questions, comments, perspectives, whatever. I'm all for it. You want to call in, you want to chime in. The number is available. The number is, and you already know what it is, 515-605-9776. That's 515-605-9776. And also, you can drop a comment or whatever that you want to do across the board. You know, I'm here. We rocking and rolling, man. And I'm just glad that y'all spending your time with me on this last Keeping It 100 Wednesday. And guess what? Blog Talk ain't messed up tonight, man. I got to give that a special shout out, man. But before I open up the telephone lines, I do want to do this real quick. I want to do this. Hold on a second. I'm going to switch up. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to tap in with y'all. Hey, man, tap in with me. You see the quality. You know, I told you. We got the trucker hats. We rocking and rolling. You see the beanies, man. It's still cold. You still can put one of these on that big tackle box of yours. You know what I'm saying? I know I got a big tackle box head, but you can put some on that jelly donut, jelly squished, jelly bean head ass of yours. Definitely tap in, man. We rocking and rolling, man. You know what I mean? Got the shirts, got the t-shirts. I got more shirts coming in this color too as well. I'm gonna probably have some blue and white ones, red and white ones all across the board and whatnot, man. So tap in. Then I also got a couple of them left. I got a couple of these left. These are the sweaters. Tap in, you see, all the way across the board. Keep you warm. Good quality product. You already see that. Good quality product. You can see the stitching. You know, I take good care of anything, like I told you, with music, culture, and fashion. I want to pay some bills real quick. Let's see here. I want to get to it. Check me out. Check me out, man. I want to send a special shout out um, to the Great 88 Movers Company. There's no job too big or too small. They do it all. Man, book with them. You see the number behind there, 832-598-7301. Book with them today, man. They all over the city. I also want to send a special shout out to my boy, man, Layton's House of Lamb and Ramen, man. Most definitely, man. I got to send a special shout out to him as well. 4405 Emancipation Avenue, 4405 Emancipation Avenue, Houston, Texas, 77004. I'm telling you across the board, man. I'm talking about awesome, 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 awesome. Like I told you, get with them, get with them. Um, if you think I'm joking, you think I'm lying, I'm going the weekend. I'm you're gonna see me with everything in my hand. You're gonna see everything. I'm talking about everything across the board. I'm ordering about 2 or 3 things out the menu so you can understand how good it is, man. Check out Layton's, man, over there on Emancipation, next to the D-Bar, man. I also say if you want to contribute to tonight's program, like I say, if you want to donate some books or anything else across the board, by all means, let me know. Hit me behind the scenes on my email. My email is available too as well. You can chat, like I say, with me, and we can do, what I'm saying, something. I got something else coming up. Like I say, Taco Tuesday's coming up. Taco Tuesday. That's coming up, so we'll be able to meet and greet, have some tacos, tequila. We'll be able to talk shit, swallow spit across the board. And like I say, I want to interact and be social, get out here and, interact with some of the people. And if you get a chance, like I say, on tonight's program, go to the YouTube page, like, subscribe, share, drop a comment or whatever. Hey, man, I like what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing. Man, you capping, man, you this and that. I take it all. I take all constructive criticism. So don't be afraid to get on there and, what I'm saying, and talk your ish. And like I said, if you want to give up, I'm opening the telephone lines. You want to give your perspective, by all means, tap in. You know the number. 515-605-9776. And I also want to say this too. The reason why I like talking and the reason why I like, giving my perspective on these things is because when you look at any other media outlet right now, you don't hear nobody giving the real. You don't hear nobody talking in the manner that I talk. And I find that, very disturbing, because out of every image that we see on TV, it's always of a negative image, but it's not of a reality image. From the superheroes to the everyday life of a black man or black woman, it's always having to do with something negative or something that's unbecoming of the way that society is portrayed, right? The way that society sways is not the way that we're portrayed on all levels, even when it comes to the movies, even when it comes to the TV shows. They have very selective ones, but I understand why. And I understand when anytime that a situation, they're not going to stand. They're going to be neutral down the middle, because the moment that they piss somebody off, or the moment that they actually say something that's within right of African Americans or minorities, period, is the moment that they start snatching their sponsorships, their endorsements, and things like that. But you see me standing. I'm not sullied by sponsorship. I'm not bought with a price, but I actually bring it live and direct, like you always hear me say, is because I give a damn. And I give a damn about my people. Just as ruthless as they can be, it's just as much as truthful I can be with my people. And I love y'all, and I care about y'all, and I respect y'all. You say you're going to need a shirt? Okay, no problem. No problem. If you need a shirt, I got you. No problem. As you can see, the show has ran quite smooth tonight. Like I told you, from now on, I got the settings. We're gonna be rocking. Everything is cool across the board. And like I say, man, give your perspective, man. If you want to tap in, raise your hand. You can call in, like I tell you, or you can actually come on screen. I'm inviting everybody. I'll probably give another minute or so and let y'all tap in. But what now I'm finna do is I'm finna take a short commercial break. And we gonna be back in just a moment. Just give me a moment. back at it. I'm back at it. I'm back at it once again. So yeah, I'm definitely in the building. Um, man, I enjoyed tonight's show. Like I say, this is the last one. Last one. This was the last one, man. And I say I felt like I had to do it because, like I say, I've taken so much and taken so much on the negative side and from the street perspective, so that I had to put something back into the life. I had to speak life back into, you know what I'm saying, my realm, my community, and things like that. Um, I'm very appreciative for y'all rocking with me this year. I'm very appreciative of you sharing programs and different things. And like I say, I want y'all guys to be able to sit down with other youth, sit down with young men and young women of tomorrow that are coming. They coming, and they need this real information. And I applaud everybody that's been rocking with me since day one, man. It's a blessing. And I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart, man. Because without you, like I say, the people, man, this wouldn't even be possible. I told y'all, I wasn't gonna be long winded. I was gonna be short winded tonight. I say, man, I'm gonna give you about another 30 seconds. Man, y'all wanna come on? Like I say, y'all know the number. Y'all can rock with me. But I also want to say this, and I'm gonna probably end it. I take everything right now in the life that I'm living as an appreciation. Within the last couple of years, I've buried about 16 classmates that I've known in life across the way. 16. I look at life from a different perspective and I appreciate it more, not because of their loss of life, but how your life could change in a blink of an eye. And if you care about your life and you care about your decision making and you care about the people around you, by all means, understand what your fate is. Understand that you're not promised tomorrow. Make the right decisions today that it can set you up in the long term in a good way. Now, I'm not saying all decisions are going to lead to great paths. You're going to have some failures. You're going to have some negatives. You're going to have some drawbacks. But nonetheless, if you stay focused, you make sound decisions, you make the right decisions, everything is going to come in your favor over time. Trust and believe me. You start putting in the work now, you're going to reap the benefits of the fruit later. As black men, I challenge you. As black women, I challenge you to take time with each other, understand each other, respect one another, give each other time to grow, but don't grow apart, grow into each other. Allow your mind and your spirit to change for the better. I don't want people to be bitter. I want people to get better next year. Take it with a grain of salt. I care. If I didn't care, I would program. I'm not monetized. I'm not anything. But I just try to give a different perspective so that people can actually think about and utilize in their life going forward. And it's all thanks to my living experiences, my parents, and me and my sound decision making that got me to 38 years old. There were some decisions that I made in my life that it could have ended me at 18, ended me at 22, ended me at 25. But I'm still here. I'm blessed. And I don't take those blessings for granted. You're here. Don't take those blessings for granted. Because there are some people who thought in such a manner that they would live forever and they got cut short. Remember this. You're not on your time. You're on God's time. You're not on your time, but God's time. And when God says that time is up, it don't have to be by a gunshot. It don't have to be by a stabbing. It could come swift to you, unknowingly. But you got to have your mind right. You got to have your emotions right. And you got to have your spirit right before you leave this earth. Because I asked the question, and I'm going to end it like this. What is your legacy going to be when you shut your eyes? Keeping it 100 Wednesday, y'all. I love y'all, man. And like I say, take this podcast, share it. Share this podcast. Because at the end of the day, there's some youth and there's some individuals in our culture, in our community that need to hear it. For sure, for sure. This is a Reynolds wrap for tonight's program. I would like to thank all of you, the people who joined, all the family, friends, haters, everyone from all walks of life. Even you too, you busters, you suckers. I love y'all too, because without you, the people, this wouldn't be possible. So until the next time, let's yap about it. Don't hit me at the back end. Don't hit me on the back end. Hit me on the front end. Good night, y'all.